Welcome. It's our delight to bring you another episode of The Heart of the Matter. In today's episode, we'll be talking about becoming a man. And our guest for today is Mr. Shawn Thacker, who is an actor who started out as an engineer. And then joining me with him is Adeolu Adefarasin, who will be co-presenting with me. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment with The Heart of the Matter.
These things sometimes are psychology.
I think the pastor as one of the many was a God experience. Wanted to find God, simply feeling like you're in fire. May it be all so.
Tell us about the solution.
As one
People with 18 to 35 years of age, not out of work. Hey, I don't have the skills for this particular problem to solve this particular problem.
none of us talked about the bread side.
Welcome back to The Heart of the Matter, where on today's episode we're talking to our guest, Shawn Thacker. He is a man with a lot of wide experience. He's in the entertainment industry, and we're going to be talking about fathering. Also with us is Adeolu Adefarasin, who will be a co-presenter of The Heart of the Matter from now on. Shawn, we live in a world where everybody acknowledges how important it is to be a father. But it's not everybody that has children that actually fulfills the role of a father. What would you say are the attributes that you would look for in a father who will fulfill the responsibilities that society expects of him?
I would say in my own experience that a father should first have found himself.
We're going to come back to explain that, what it means to find yourself.
Well, okay, we'll come back to that. But someone who is a mentor, positively, if I must add that. Because for the child, the father is a mirror. The child mirrors everything they see the parents do. So if you are a bad reflection, it will show forth on the child. So that's the first thing, in terms of attributes. And then the father should be able to head the home, not just in terms of figurehead, but actually do the things that make you the head, providing for your home, going the extra mile, laying down your life basically for the family, so yeah.
Now, you said find yourself, and I would assume that if the father hasn't found himself, then his sons or his children will not be able to find themselves either. So what do you mean by finding yourself? Is it coming to an understanding of your identity, who you are?
Yes, basically that's what it is. Knowing who you are, what you were supposed to do on this earth, why you were sent to earth at a time like this in the 21st century and not the 18th century, not the 17th century. Because I believe that everything, nothing's a coincidence. To everything, there's a time and season. There's a reason why you're here at this time. And for me, I usually tell, a few friends that one of the reasons why we have so much problems in marriages is that people find themselves in marriage and then realize that the person they wake up to beside in bed is not, they can't recognize who they are. Because you find yourself, and then the person is still trying to locate where they are, in terms of what they're supposed to do, purpose, and all of that type of stuff. So it's wiser to do that whilst you're single, and then get someone who has already found themselves, and then you go on that journey together. Because marriage on its own is a cross, and everybody's coming with their different burdens. So you want to carry a burden which is lighter.
You've said that a father should be the head of the home, but we live in a world where we have gender equality, where we have transgenderism, and in an African culture in which the father is the one that puts the bacon on the table, the father is the one that ensures that he brings the money into the family. And many fathers feel that that is their responsibility. The raising of children is theirs, is the wife's responsibility. They don't have anything to do with it. But what do you say?
That also contributes to the abnormality that we've seen now in children, because I mean it's not. I mean, now we know that it's MTV and the Cartoon Networks and all those other stations that are raising kids, not even the parents anymore. So you have kids growing up with so much knowledge that the parents are not even aware. Especially now that we're in the information age, you have access to, kids have access to phones. I know 2-year-olds who navigate an iPad, with ease. They're not trying to figure it out. They know what they want to do with it, So there's so much available online, and these things reflect on the kids. So if you have an absentee father, of course, there's a problem already.
What can a father do to change that kind of stuff? Because nowadays we look at things like, like you said, there's so easy access to things like the internet, and you almost can't hold them away from it, because your schools nowadays will tell you that you need the internet to do the work, as opposed to having a textbook like we used to. Most of the stuff is done on the internet. So how does a father guide their children in that situation?
I think it can be relative. I know certain fathers who, regardless of whether the kids have friends who own these things, they won't still give it to them. I know kids who use their father's devices to do assignments, so that they can monitor what it is that they go through, because kids can be funny these days. You tell you want to do something else, and they're delving into a whole lot of other stuff you don't even want to go into right now, So it's very key that you check what your child is into. You ask, because kids now are freer to discuss with their peers, and they learn a whole lot from a peer who has been so exposed, because there's no control in that home, and they come and reflect it on their child. And you as a father, without communication, you don't know what's going on,
If we just get away from the image, the African image of father, what qualifies a father to be able to delve into the life of his son is a bond.
True.
Okay. Now, how does a father build that bond so that he's, because you don't want to stop being a father and becoming a friend. You need to be a father that is also got some friend in there as well.
I think it's quite a very dicey, very tricky situation, trying to find that balance, because I mean, we have, regardless of where we are at now as in terms of advancement, technology-wise and all that, we're still Africans. A lot of people still have that ingrained in the system that, you can't come to me, go to your mother, for certain things. I don't know if it makes any sense, but we can't do that these days, because it's everybody, all hands must be on deck. Especially now that there's so much available to these kids. There's no, don't come. You must create that enabling environment to say, you know what, if you need to know about these things, talk to me. But it doesn't happen after a while. You must have started from inception, from birth. You create that bond. So I know people who tell me, oh, my father's my best friend, because they started early.
So we're going to stop now for a short break. And when we come back, we want to talk to you about your own experiences as a father, as a mentor, because you're not a biological father of children yet. And just share from you and see how we can help some of our viewers who are asking questions. Viewers, we'll be back in a moment with Shawn Faqua on The Heart of the Matter. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Heart of the Matter, where Adeolu and I are talking with Shawn Faqua. Shawn, I'm going to hand you over to Adeolu for a moment to ask you about your experiences.
So we've talked a lot about what it's like, the roles where you think we need as fathers and what I think fathering requires. But like you said, you're not a father yet. So what, looking at from the other end, the other side of it, what do you think has influenced you? What other things have affected you and inspired how you've gotten to where you are?
truth is, growing up, I was fortunate enough to grow up with a father who was very disciplined, who, like they say, would honor a good name or would cherish a good name over silver and gold. You know, it was a Christian who found Christ, you know, later on in his life, and he would not hear about anything else. So he instilled that in us from a very early age, you know. So I was lucky enough to grow up in that type of environment, you know. But then again, heading off to school, university, specifically, where there's so much freedom, you know, a lot of things become very accessible to you. You have friends who are coming from diverse backgrounds, who are not as, you know, religious, if I may say, or spiritual, you know, in that regard, and they have those influences. And being someone who had never been exposed that much to things like that, it was fun. You know, I mean, they call it youthful exuberance, but I mean, it was fun. It was very also influencing, you know, because there was nobody looking over your shoulder saying, oh, are you home now? Or where are you? And all that. They just let you fly, you know. But that upbringing always came to bear, you know, because you just tell yourself, you advise yourself that, okay, you're going overboard. You need to run away. Or you need to, because sometimes your friends are hanging out till late and you're not feeling comfortable about it. Your spirit's just telling you, you need to leave this place. And they won't hear any of it. So you need to devise it. But don't say, you know, guys, I'll come and see you a bit. You know, let me just take a pee or something and then you run away, you know. So, I mean, different things, coping mechanisms, you know, because you don't want to be in a place where you're letting your folks down. Because, I mean, they believe so much in you, you know, and a lot of people who were caged as kids come into that environment and begin to express differently. I mean, I saw different people who were even pastors' children, you know, who came there and became something else, who got into cultism and, you know.
How important would you say it is for a child to be raised in these things? You talked about your spiritual education, if you like, in terms of your father teaching you about God, your character, and all of these things. How important, how early? Or in other words, the earlier the better? Would you agree?
Of course, the earlier the better. It doesn't necessarily stop you from getting other type of education, really, but it gives you a wide spectrum to choose from. You know, especially when, you know, I mean, those days where some of us were forced to go to church because our parents were going to church. You know, so you didn't have a choice. They're paying your bills. You stay in your house, so you have to go to church. You know, but I mean, you come into a place, like I said, where there's nobody breathing down your neck. You have a choice to make. So do you really want to go to that place of worship? So then you now realize that you really must have a relationship with God. You can't fake it. You know, I mean, you can act all Christianese, but when push comes to shove, it will show. You know, so it's very important to start at an early age, and foundation is very key. We all know that. You know, the Bible says, train up a child the way he should go. When he's old, he will not depart from it. And then even when he departs, there's always that covenant that brings them back at some point in their life.
So it's never too early.
Never too early
To start. Okay, Adeolu.
One thing that I'm thinking, obviously, is that yes, it's important to have that relationship because, you know, like you said, once you go out, you get a lot of freedom, and then it's that upbringing. Because one thing that's always stood out to me is if I see somebody and they don't know me, but they know my name, their first thought goes to my father.
Okay.
Therefore, your behavior you're a representative of that person.
True.
How do you reflect on that person? These are things that obviously must come to mind.
True.
At some point when you get to that place when you're straying a little bit too far. You know, what do people that see my father, what do they think?
I mean, but the thing is, you won't really care if you're someone who has that mindset of, you know what, I mean, my father's lived his life, I'm living my life. It's the truth. You know, if you didn't have that good upbringing, I mean, you like, oh, and people just keep calling your father, sir, I saw your son, you know, so some very, very awkward places, you know, and of course, your dad already knows that, oh, my son, he already knows the problems that he has with the kid, so it won't be new to him. But if it's someone who is convicted in the spirit, you say, you know what, regardless of whatever my father has done, I need to find a path for myself. He has given me all I need to find myself. Now I'm ready to do that.
So an important part of fathering is for the father to take responsibility, to also get involved in the raising of his son.
Totally.
It can't be left solely to the mother.
Never.
Yeah.
Especially for men.
Especially for men. Why so men?
I mean, because we don't have a lot of men who are truly men. We have a lot of males
Okay.
who are not men.
What's the difference between a male and a man?
Deep. A male is,
He has the appendages. Okay.
of course,
Okay.
You know, he
Then
was
what makes
created.
that male a man?
you become a man when you understand what it takes. You begin to walk in responsibility besides yourself to others. So it's something you become
Okay.
by knowledge. But a male is, you don't have a choice. You were born to be like that. I don't know if it makes any sense.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's making sense to me.
So that's the difference.
Okay. Let me ask about gentlemen.
Okay.
Because in this world, today's world, it's like if you're a gentleman, you're a mumu. You know.
Okay.
Is it still okay to be a gentleman?
It is very okay to be a gentleman, you know. But like I said, a lot of people fake those kind of things, you know, especially when there's a goal at hand.
Okay.
Yes, so it can be.
So the goal could be a woman.
Thank you.
So by saying that, you're saying that women want gentlemen.
Well, not all women were gentlemen, you know.
That too is obviously down to the fathering that they had. So we talk about things in terms of specifically sons, but also daughters, because if your father is not so around, then what example is being set for you and what to look for in a man?
Well, not so much as the fathering, but the upbringing. I don't know if it makes sense. You know, because there are certain people who have had very damaging experiences
Yeah.
as children, and it begins to reflect as they grow older.
Now, I think that many men or fathers leave more of the responsibility for the raising of their daughters to the wife.
Okay.
But just take a young lady. She's now in her teens, early teens or mid-teens, and she goes to the hairdresser. She comes home and daddy sees her and says, "Oh, I love your hairdo. That's nice. That's lovely." Now, so he's complimenting her. She's not going to take compliments. Yeah, she gets used to the compliments. She doesn't have to start looking for them when she's older and in the market, as it were, you know. So, so I think that it's important for us to also consider the father-daughter relationship. It's an important one because a lot of daughters become, you know, if they've lived under a father that has been overbearing, when they get free, like you said, they can do whatever. Okay.
Totally, you know, and I totally agree about that. I mean, I think fathers should do more of that. You know, I know fathers who did that, and the daughters became better off for it, because you, as a man, you're going to offer her. What are you going to offer her that her father hasn't offered her already? Is it a date? Is it taking her shopping? Is it compliments? So she's used to these things, and then the men who have once been in their youth know, you know, what young men are after. Yeah. So you can also educate the girl child, say, you know what, this guy's, you know, you need to find a man who loves you, you know, not for what he wants to get from you.
And then many women look for the attributes of their father
in the man.
their potential man. We're going to take another break, and we'll be back in a moment, still talking with Shawn and Adeolu on the subject of becoming a man. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Heart of the Matter, where we're talking with Shawn Faqua and Adeolu. We're talking about becoming a man. And many of the young people that are watching this program are saying, how do I become a man? It's not just about having a beard. And all three of us on this set have beards. It's not just about having a beard. There must be something that I must be looking for. There must be somebody I can go to. There must be. What would you say? How did you become a man?
I'm a very big crooner for knowledge.
Okay.
You know, that's one of my pet peeves is ignorance. I don't like people who are ignorant. You know, from upbringing, I was taught that people perish for lack of knowledge. You know, so ignorance is a no-no. You know, so and I believe that the world, as we know it, belongs to seekers, people who want to know stuff, people who are hungry to know stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, so if, for instance, you are not lucky enough to have a father figure in your life, you must find one.
Okay.
You know, that will direct you in the path that you've chosen to
Where
talk.
should you be looking for such a father figure?
From people who have done stuff that are inspiring
Should you
to you.
should you start at home?
You know,
Okay, so
not
it's not
necessarily.
a father, there may be an uncle, and so on.
Well, it depends on your location. You know, some people are not far away from family. You know, but you have people who you've seen that are doing great stuff, or who you've seen that their children turned out really great, and you want to be like that, or you want to know how that came about. You know, so I think there are a lot of examples that, you know, if you look
so you
around.
need to look for somebody and attach yourself to them.
That's it, and then garner as much as you can from them, especially if they're willing to, you know, to go that route with you.
In the quest to become a man, we come through a phase of money. You know, because it looks as if it's money that makes the world go round. What do you say about that? I mean, how important is money in becoming a man?
Money is great, very great. Forgive me, I like to go spiritual on that.
Yeah.
The Bible says that money answereth all things, but the root, the love of it is the root of all evil. Not money itself, but the excessive love of it is what begins to, you know, generate evil in the minds of men. You know, Bible also says that you cannot serve God and money, which is mammon. It didn't say you can't serve God and devil. Because if you keep devil here and keep money here, people will leave devil and follow money. That's how important money is in the grand scheme of things, you know. So, and now we have, of course, a lot of people who are driven by the love of it, you know, and they'll go to any extent, you know, taking life, you know.
So it's important to conquer the love of money.
Yes.
At some point,
I believe that, and those who are from different kingdoms know that money is a tool and not an end in itself.
Yeah.
So when we understand that money is a tool to achieve what you want to achieve, so you send it on errands, you begin to understand that you have the power over it and not the other way around.
Yeah. Adeolu?
Still on the subject of money, because I feel like money is something that, you know, like you said, if you put too much attention on money, it will hold you back from a lot of things. Because I realize that a lot of men nowadays, we let money define the goals that we set for ourselves. Be that in marriage, I need to be able to because obviously it's realistic. You need to be able to provide in this
Money's
sense, in
good,
this
yeah.
way. It's understandable, but how do we get to a position of making sure we're not driven by it in totality?
Well, that again is in the process of finding yourself. You already know what you want to do with your life. You already know what you're called to do. It's not your job. I'm talking about work. The job is different from work, you know. So in that process, you know the things that you want to achieve, how you want to achieve them. Because sometimes you really don't need money. You just need faith to step out, and the money will come.
That's the point. I think it's so important that we're able to leave the quest for money to God. Not that God is going to come and put money into your bank account, but that He will lead and direct you. So you can enter into rest, even if you don't have the money yet. You can enter into rest and just wait until it shows up.
Because you always show up. Every dog has his day. Everybody has the turn and the season. Times and seasons keeps changing. So you always show up. But I mean, because of impatience, a lot of people want to bring it forward. You know.
And you see, in our nation today, there's such a quest for material things. And as long as that is there, people will always strive to get money by any means.
Yes.
Okay, and so I think it's important for young people watching this program to go away with the understanding that they've got to be able to put money in its rightful place. True. It mustn't become a dominant over there. It mustn't become a god over them. And so that's one of the things I think that we need to deal with money. Now, it's been said, it's a fact, it's an empirical fact, that more people are in prison around the world who didn't have a father figure in their lives. And if you go into the United States of America, some of the West Indian countries, you will find people refer to the mother of their child as my baby mama. So there's no relationship whatsoever between them. And I really feel that the children of that sort of relationship are doomed to having poor marriages themselves because they never had an example of a marriage. And another thing is children, you said it earlier on, they're more likely to follow an example than a sermon.
True.
So you tell them, do this, and you don't do it yourself. Don't smoke. And they see you smoking, I mean, they're gonna want to try it out.
True.
Okay. So so becoming a man. What are the things, the landmarks that you have seen in your own personal experience from when you were a child growing up until now that we can say you are a man? What are the landmarks?
The most important landmark was finding God for myself.
Okay.
You know, not the God that my parents told me about. I mean, I'm not saying that was a bad God, you know, but it's important to have intimacy, fellowship with God. You know, when you know those things, when you have that, you receive light. That light is the revelation, knowledge that you walk with, and then everything else pales in comparison to the light. Because when you receive revelation or vision, you walk towards that vision. How it's going to happen is not your business. Is it going to happen? Yes, it's going to happen because you have that relationship with the one who has told you that it will happen. You know, so for me, that was the turnaround landmark in my life. You know, it changed a whole lot of things for me.
So God was the first landmark. Now the second landmark, and I'm going to get a little personal now, should be a wife. And you're in the entertainment industry. Okay. And in the entertainment industry, you stand out. You know, people say people are attracted to the anointing. And there's an anointing to get married on you. How are you coping with that aspect of life?
Of course, marriage is on the radar. Definitely is on the radar. I mean, if God who created man says to man that it is not good for man to be alone. If a creator of a product says it's not good for the product to go by itself, who am I to?
You're still dodging the question. The radar usually shows something that's not too far away. So there may be some ladies on the other side of the camera who are saying, that's a guy that I'd like to meet and see if there's any possibility of a relationship. Is that a non-starter? Is there somebody that is kind of beginning to look like this could be the person?
No, absolutely not. I'm single, very, very, very single, But one thing I know is, like I have had a couple of people come tell me, oh, I had a dream about you, saw you in my dreams, my man, and stuff like that. But, I mean, it's good that I know and have fellowship with my God, because what I believe is if God's going to show it to you, He's going to show it to me as well.
Absolutely.
so
So beware of such dreams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that you dreamt about this, but I'm saying two must agree for them to work together. So, yes, it is very much in the radar, but I mean, we're still finding. We must find. Yeah.
And you will find.
Amen.
Well, we've done over our time, so
Okay.
I don't want to bring this episode to an end, but we have to. We'd have no choice.
Okay.
So it's really been great fun having this chat with you, Shawn, and Adeolu, who will be presenting subsequent episodes of the Heart to the Matter starting soon.
Cool.
So it's been lovely having you
Same
with
here,
us
sir.
on the Heart of the Matter. Viewers, we thoroughly enjoyed bringing this episode to you, and now we would like to ask you to make sure that you tune in to us again, same time, same channel, next week. Until then, stay blessed.